A person wakes up in a strange place, wondering about his identity and whether he has already passed away. He hears a woman's voice pleading with an ancestor to have mercy on her and her child and allow her to give birth. The response is a firm refusal, as another voice confirms that the Valley of the Medicine God has determined that the mother's origin has been damaged, her innate talent is insufficient, and the fetus in her womb has an ordinary foundation. That voice continues to question how the Luo clan could produce such an offspring without becoming a laughingstock to other clans, prompting the hero to wonder about the source of the conversation and what it means to be a fetus with an innate deficiency. Suddenly, he realizes the horrifying truth. He has been transported to a fantasy world as an unborn child. He sees his pregnant mother before him and realizes he is the child with the innate deficiency they are talking about. He notices that Elder Zhongzhou seems determined to abandon him, and he contemplates the cruelty of this world governed by strength, where the weak are abandoned even as fetuses. The mother, Shan Tian, asks if he agrees with this decision. Shan Tian yells at her, questioning how her child with damaged root bones could share the resources and luck of the Luo clan, comparing him to Yunar's fetus, which is considered a celestial body. The mother responds angrily, reminding Shan Tian that she was the one who transferred her innate true energy to him to save him when he was injured and unconscious, and that this act is what caused her child's root bones to be damaged. Shan Tian gives her only one choice: either leave the Luo clan or abandon her child. The mother is shocked by these options. The fetus wonders what kind of scum would force a mother to make such a decision, and anxiously awaits his mother's choice. The mother, whose name is revealed to be Jiang Qixin, makes her decision, and announces that she will leave the Luo clan. The elder and Shan Tian look at her in shock. Jiang Qixin declares that her life and death with her child no longer have anything to do with the Luo clan from this day forward. The child vows to his mother that although he is a weak child with damaged root bones, he will work hard to cultivate and they will earn their dignity together. In that moment of determination, an electronic system called the Late Bloomer System appears before him, which has been bound to him because he showed the determination to cultivate. He is shocked and excited to have a system, but he quickly becomes angry at its name, shouting that he hasn't even been born yet to be a late bloomer. He discovers that the full name of the system is System of Late Blooming Greatness, and thinks about how the system is pushing him to work hard while still in the womb. Then wonders if this system has come 300 years too early. The system shows him a glimpse of his difficult future, where he and his mother Jiang Qixin will be unable to cultivate and will be subjected to ridicule and contempt from everyone. The system continues to display the child's tragic future, showing how his half-brother has achieved the Tao while he relies on pills his mother begged for to stay alive, and showing him that his determination to defy fate only came after his mother's death. The fetus adamantly rejects this destiny, screaming for the system to stop showing this tragic vision. Realizing that the system came 300 years early, he decides to turn his life from a failure into a triumph, and vows that he will rewrite his story to become a miracle that sweeps through the heavens. The system presents him with a beginner's mission, to cultivate voluntarily for the first time and amaze his mother, with the reward being fusion with the archaic sacred body. He is stunned, and the system explains that this body grants invincible physical strength, capable of challenging the ancient emperors. He realizes that with this gift, he can definitely defy fate, taking advantage of being in the womb to easily circulate spiritual energy through fetal breathing. His mother feels the strange activity inside her, and wonders in shock if her son has already started cultivating while still in her womb. The system announces the completion of the mission and begins the process of fusing him with the archaic sacred body, which activates the legacy of the ancient sages. The mother notices a strange phenomenon resembling lightning outside. While in her consciousness, she sees visions of ancient emperors before whom heroes are nothing. The mother feels a flow of golden spiritual essence repairing her damaged foundations, and her confusion grows as to how such a phenomenon could come from her supposedly deficient child. The system explains the cultivation path, which begins with the 3 lower realms: blood transformation, cave heaven, and spirit manifestation, each consisting of 10 levels, and mentions that reaching certain ranks before adulthood is a sign of supreme genius. It is said that one who can break through spirit manifestation before reaching adulthood and reach the venerable realm, even at its first level, is considered a miracle among miracles. That is what is called destiny. The system displays the new status of the child, now named Zhang Wang, with his archaic sacred body having reached the first level of blood transformation, then rapidly advancing through the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th levels. Zhang Wang declares that this moment is the starting point for defying and rewriting his destiny. Elsewhere, the mother arrives at a large residence and announces her return to her eldest brother and sister-in-law, where she is received by her eldest brother, Zhang Wang, and his wife, Zhang Siqing. The brother explains to his sister that they went to seek help from a higher sect to treat her child because no one dares to anger the Luo clan. Jiang Xiqing responds harshly, accusing Jiang Qixin of crawling back for help after being cast out by the Luo clan. Jiang Xiqing looked at her with a sarcastic tone, as if implying that the Luo clan had not allowed her to take the marriage alliance resources from the legitimate heiress of the Mo clan, and that she had now returned feigning pride, while in reality she was only looking for scraps. Jiang Qixin replies sadly that she wanted nothing but her child's safety, and her brother intervenes angrily to defend her, ordering his wife to hold her tongue and assuring that the Jiang clan will provide all necessary resources for his nephew. The eldest brother, Jiang Wang, tries to calm his sister, Jiang Qixin, asking her not to be affected by his wife's harsh words, explaining that she is only sharp-tongued but actually kind-hearted. Jiang Qixin assures him that it doesn't bother her and that she knows her sister-in-law's nature well. Meanwhile, the fetus Jiang Wang was thinking that his mother was not being bullied as he had expected. On the contrary, he felt a warmth and welcome in the Jiang clan that far exceeded what he had experienced in the Luo clan. His thoughts are interrupted by the arrival of Jiang Qixin's parents, who announce their return and that they have brought a distinguished figure with them, Sage Miao, from the Palace of Creation Sage. The fetus is mesmerized by the sage's breathtaking beauty, thinking to himself that this beauty is worthy of a Zhenxia fantasy world. Suddenly, the fetus is surprised by the reappearance of his electronic system, which presents him with a new mission under the name Late Blooming Greatness. Jiang Wang realizes that the system must automatically react when encountering a powerful person and decides that Sage Miao is his best option at the moment. He decides that if he shows his talent early, it will make the clan value his mother more. The mother, Jiang Qixin, steps forward and respectfully asks the sage for help, while the fetus plans to astound the sage with the power of his archaic sacred body. The sage asks everyone to wait outside, telling them she will examine the fetus with the patient inside the hall. The sage reassures the mother that she will not use any spiritual power to stimulate the fetus because it is weak. The sage places her hand on the mother's wrist to check her condition. The fetus hears the word weak and thinks sarcastically, challenging her to say that to his archaic sacred body. As soon as the sage places her hand on the mother's wrist, her expression changes, and she feels a terrifying aura coming from the chaotic primordial era. The mother asks her worriedly what is happening, and the sage inquires in astonishment whether this child has already been diagnosed as lacking innate power. The mother confirms that this was the diagnosis of the Luo clan's healers. The sage decides she will see for herself the depth of this child's potential, and begins to use her power to examine him. The fetus feels that his future master is not yet satisfied, so he decides to show his full power and commands his archaic sacred body to open up. The sage notes that this little one still refuses to give up, and admires his fighting spirit, saying that if she hadn't come here by chance, the world would have lost an unparalleled genius. The mother is completely stunned. Since those present do not know the true nature of the fetus's innate bone structure, the sage suggests using her special treasure that reveals the truth of all things to shine a light on him. The mother thanks her with deep gratitude. When the sage and the mother exit the hall, anxiety prevails among the clan members waiting outside, thinking the examination ended quickly because the child could not be saved. The sage tells them not to let their thoughts run wild, and then announces that the child in her womb is not only unharmed but actually possesses unparalleled talent. Sage Miao confirms that what she just examined is the truth, and considers it her good fortune to have come here and witnessed this matter. The grandfather stands perplexed, wondering how his grandson can be so talented when he was told he lacked natural talent. The sage dismisses that diagnosis as the nonsense of an ignorant doctor. Using her treasure, the sage displays a stunning vision before the Jiang clan, where a majestic scene of 9 golden dragons pulling a massive bronze coffin across the sky appears, leaving the clan members in a state of shock and awe. The sage explains that just one of these 9 sovereign dragons could crush the entire Jiang clan with a single finger. The clan members wonder about the identity of the person being pulled inside that coffin, only for the vision to reveal a young man who greatly resembles his mother, Jiang Qixin. The sage realizes that the archaic sacred body has been born into the Jiang clan and that a heavenly emperor is about to emerge. Joy overwhelms the grandfather and grandmother, and the grandmother cries out with tears of joy that heaven has blessed their clan. The mother, Jiang Qixin, looks at her belly with pride, telling her child that he has truly brought her honor. The sage then turns to Jiang Qixin, telling her that she is not one for introductions and will speak directly, offering to let her child join the Palace of Eternal Creation as her disciple. She promises to personally oversee his growth and training until he becomes an unparalleled force in the world. The clan members are shocked again, realizing this offer is for the position of head disciple, a position for which the heirs of imperial clans might fight to the death. Meanwhile, the fetus, Jiang Wang, thinks that the Palace of Creation is a first-rate sect, far exceeding his system's requirement of at least a third-rate sect, and eagerly wonders about the size of his reward. The mother, Jiang Qixin bows respectfully and accepts the offer, expressing her and the Jiang clan's gratitude for this great favor from the sage. The mother thinks about how the world has turned upside down in a single day, and asks her child in her mind if he wishes to become the sage's disciple. The sage smiles, thinking how fortunate she was to feel pity and come to the Jiang clan. Otherwise, she would have missed the chance to discover this terrifying prodigy. At that moment, Zhang Wang's system shows him a glimpse of his original tragic destiny, and then the system announces the completion of the mission to join a third-rate sect or higher. Zhang Wang celebrates inwardly at the mission's completion and that the Palace of Creation is a peak power, eagerly awaiting his reward. Confident that with the archaic sacred body and a high-level cultivation technique, no obstacle will stand in his way. The system announces the reward, a supreme cultivation method called the Art of the Heaven-Devouring Demon. Zhang Wang is shocked to receive this legendary technique. The system explains that this art revolves around absorbing spiritual energy from heaven and earth, forming a natural cultivation vortex, and is a growable and evolving method with healing abilities and immense suppressive power. The fetus decides he cannot waste any time and that this is his chance. He immediately begins to cultivate while still in his mother's womb, and a golden spiritual energy rises from him, swirling around the hall, astonishing his mother and the clan members. His uncle and aunt look on in absolute shock, and his uncle wonders in disbelief how his nephew has started cultivating before even being born. The grandfather exclaims that heaven has blessed the Jiang clan, while the uncle and his wife look on in shock. Meanwhile, Sage Miao thinks to herself with satisfaction that with a disciple possessing the archaic sacred body, no one will dare say her lineage is weak in the Immortal Palace's tournament 100 years from now. The sage declares that accepting a new disciple requires a meeting gift, and as his master, she will present him with a treasure first. The fetus Jiang Wang is confident, thinking that with his sacred body and the heaven-devouring demon technique, the treasure will immediately recognize him as its owner. He spiritually summons the treasure, confident that subduing an ordinary treasure is extremely easy for him. The treasure heads directly into the mother's womb and merges with it, surprising the sage who wonders how an unborn child could make a treasure acknowledge him. But it didn't end there. After the system's mission was completed, the fetus mentally commanded the treasure, now known as the Heaven and Earth Fire Suppression Armor, to be upgraded. The armor transforms and evolves into an innate spirit treasure. The family members stand in awe, wondering at the nature of this incredible scene and how an unborn child could subdue and upgrade a treasure. The sage admits to herself that she had intended to help the boy merge with the treasure, but he not only subdued it on his own, his sacred body even managed to upgrade it to an innate spirit treasure. The sage decides that with an innate spirit treasure bound to him, no ordinary cultivator will be able to harm him. She announces that she will personally return when Zhang Wang reaches the Cave Heaven realm to guide him to the sect and take him to explore the vast world of cultivation. 3 days later, a group of soldiers from the Great Xia Divine Dynasty arrives. They storm into the Jiang clan's hall and demand that the person in charge come out immediately. The mother, Jiang Qixin, immediately realizes they have heard the news of her and her son's expulsion from the Luo clan and have come to annul his engagement, while the fetus scoffs at this classic situation, vowing that this dynasty will regret its decision the moment he is born. The leader of the soldiers addresses the fetus's uncle, Jiang Wang, reminding him of the marriage arranged decades ago. The uncle angrily asks why they have stormed their hall in such a manner. The leader introduces himself as General Wu Qi and formally announces that the marriage agreement has been annulled. The uncle erupts in anger, yelling at them that their dynasty was the one who sought this political marriage in the first place, and now they come to annul it without any respect for the Jiang clan. General Wu Qi retorts that the news of Jiang Cixin's expulsion has spread everywhere, and that her child is no longer the legitimate heir, questioning how the small Jiang clan could be worthy of an alliance with their great dynasty, while the fetus internally scoffs at their accusation of his innate talent deficiency, vowing that this general will kneel before him, begging him to accept their princess on the day of his birth. The general continues his insults, saying their emperor was merciful to send him, otherwise they would be the ones kneeling before the imperial hall, asserting that their princess deserves an imperial marriage and not to be paired with the inferior deficient root of the Jiang clan. The uncle threatens to execute him for his insolence and for slandering his nephew in their own home. The general scoffs at the uncle and moves to attack the fetus to dispose of the useless trash. The fetus is enraged by the attempt to harm his mother. Suddenly, a huge spiritual hand appears and stops the general's attack, who screams in surprise, calling for the Xuanming elders. 2 old elders appear, laughing, mocking the family's grandfather and offering to train him. General Wu Qi introduced the 2 elders, explaining they were the Xuanming elders, cultivators from their dynasty's court, while the fetus, Jiang Wang, noted to himself that the cultivation level of these two old ghosts was not low. The uncle shouted angrily, accusing the great Jia dynasty of allying with these notorious and disgraceful elders, and questioned if their dynasty felt any shame. One of the elders responded angrily, asking the uncle condescendingly if it was his turn to speak. One of the elders attacked the uncle, forcing the grandfather to intervene to protect him, who was forcefully pushed back while catching him. In the chaos, the other elder took the opportunity to launch a deadly sword attack on the pregnant mother, Jiang Qixin, sneering that the old grandfather wouldn't be able to protect everyone. Immediately, the fetus's system issued a warning of a fatal threat and gave him an emergency mission to protect his mother from being killed. The fetus blazed with fury, considering that targeting a pregnant woman was the height of depravity. Jiang Wang activated the heaven-devouring demon art, commanding it to swallow the attack. A vortex formed, pulling in the spiritual power from the elders' attacks, leaving them shocked and bewildered as their power suddenly vanished. The grandfather wondered in confusion who had intervened to help the Jiang family. The terrified elders decided to attack together, launching blue ghostly hands. The fetus responded by using his innate spirit treasure, creating the heaven and earth cold flame barrier, intending to burn them to death. The flames erupted with immense power, terrifying the elders, who realized they were facing an innate spirit treasure and wondered how a small family like the Jiang could possess such a weapon. One of them demanded the hidden entity reveal itself and stop hiding in the shadows. The system announced the successful completion of the mission to survive a life-and-death crisis, rewarding Jiang Wang with a 9-turn Great Mysterious Rebirth pill. The instructions explained that this pill instantly restores spiritual power upon ingestion, and the fetus felt confident, vowing to restore the Jiang family's honor that day. Miles away, Sage Miao felt the activation of the spirit treasure and marveled that her disciple had used it only 3 days after she had left. She focused her power to see what was happening, and a spiritual projection of her appeared above the Jiang family's hall, angrily asking who the blind fool was that dared to harm her disciple. She descended forcefully into the hall, declaring that this child was the head disciple of the Palace of Eternal Creation, and questioned who gave them the audacity to attack him. The fetus was surprised by his master's presence, guessing she must have left an emergency measure within the treasure. One of the elders refused to believe it and attacked the sage's projection, accusing her of deception. The sage easily countered his attack, and the fetus scoffed at the audacity of an ancient emperor challenging an ancient sage. While feeling relieved that his master had intervened, the two elders stood shocked. One of the elders tried to use a veiled threat, asking the sage to reveal her name so their dynasty could seek her guidance in the future. The sage scoffed at his threat, declaring that a fourth-rate ancient emperor was not even worthy of hearing her name. At that moment, the grandfather attacked using the spirit crane left by the sage, directing it at one of the elders, brutally defeating him and sending him crashing to the ground covered in blood. General Wu Qi stands in shock, unable to believe that a mere thread of divine consciousness could suppress an ancient emperor, and realizes that this woman is indeed from the Palace of Eternal Creation, and that the Jiang family's son, whom they had dismissed as a mortal root, would actually enter this palace, while the fetus, Jiang Wang, thinks to himself that it's too late for regrets. The defeated elder urges the general to retreat, while the general looks in terror at the sage's projection, thinking to himself that what is happening is impossible. He curses the Luo clan, calling them fools for casting out a genius capable of entering the Palace of Creation, thereby bringing disaster upon the great Xia dynasty. The Jiang family's grandfather begs the sage to spare the lives of these shameless opportunists, so they can witness with their own eyes what kind of miracle his grandson will become in the future. The sage agrees, and orders them to return alive to deliver a message to their dynasty, that the marriage contract between the Jiang family and the great Xia dynasty is annulled. The fetus is pleased by this, wondering if his master intends to help him. But the sage reconsiders, and declares loudly that it is not their right to annul her disciple's marriage. She unleashes a powerful force that pushes the soldiers back, then throws the annulment document at them, stating that her disciple is the one who scorns marriage to their dynasty's princess. The sage yells at them, asking why they haven't left yet. She then warns them not to forget to return the engagement gifts, or she will come and demand them herself. The defeated general can only reluctantly agree. After their departure, the family members bow before the sage, and the uncle expresses his gratitude, saying that without her intervention and use of the spirit treasure, the Jiang family would have faced a disaster. The grandfather steps forward and offers the family's profound thanks for her great kindness. The sage tells them not to think of it, as she has accepted Jiang Wang as her disciple. Their family's affairs are now linked to hers. But she clarifies that to say she was the one who used the spirit treasure is not entirely accurate. The spirit crane laughs, saying that her master is straightforward and would not dare take credit that belongs to her disciple. The sage promises the young grandson that the family will provide him with all the resources they can muster. The fetus is touched by this, thinking, "You are truly my real master." The grandfather understands what the sage means and asks the others to leave so he can discuss matters with her in private. Once they are alone, the grandfather asks the sage what kind of physical constitution his grandson possesses that enabled him to use a spirit treasure while still in the womb. The sage reveals that the child possesses the legendary archaic sacred body, leaving the grandfather in a state of utter shock. The sage explains that she herself does not know why he could control the treasure as a fetus, as the last appearance of such a body was hundreds of thousands of years ago, adding that since the little one has already started cultivating, no one knows how overwhelming his power will be at birth. Joy overwhelms the grandfather, and he exclaims that heaven has truly blessed their clan. The sage warns him that the resources needed to cultivate the archaic sacred body are immense, and that his foundation must not be neglected before he officially enters the palace of creation. The grandfather thanks her for the reminder and vows that the Jiang clan will muster all its strength to lay a solid foundation for Jiang Wang. The uncle's wife celebrates, declaring that the rise of the Jiang clan is imminent, and the uncle exclaims that they must make the Luo clan regret their decision. The fetus Jiang Wang reflects on the recent events and concludes that this world is truly governed by strength. His beautiful master had barely lifted a finger, yet her enemies were pushed to their limits, and he resolves that he must win not just from the starting line, but from the womb itself. Afterward, the family gathers to greet the ancestor of the Jiang clan. The ancestor tells them he has already heard about the child's physical constitution, and that despite its unimaginable power, it requires limitless resources. Therefore, he decides to relinquish all his personal resources to the child. The mother objects to this decision, explaining that the ancestor needs nearly half of the clan's wealth to continue his own cultivation, and that giving it all up means the entire clan will pour everything into nurturing this child. But the ancestor insists his decision is final, and also hands over the resources gifted by Sage Miao. The mother thanks him on behalf of her son. The fetus's system issues a new mission, to cultivate continuously for 1 month and impress the ancestor, with the reward being the supreme celestial grandeur. Jiang Wang is excited about the reward, and the system explains that this grandeur was only born to ancient powerful beings and comes with a unique innate divine ability. The fetus is confident that with the resources he has obtained and the heaven-devouring demon technique, he can reach the spirit manifestation realm, and that an unborn child reaching this peak will be enough to impress the ancestor, and he begins to cultivate immediately. 1 month later, the ancestor feels bored and restless, and decides to go check on his grandson. He has spent the entire month watching over and guarding the Zhang family's prodigy to ensure no harm comes to him, but he had neglected to follow his cultivation progress. When he finally checks his level, he is utterly shocked, wondering in disbelief how his grandson has reached the peak of the spirit manifestation realm in just 1 month. At the same moment, the fetus was thinking that he had reached this peak 3 days ago, and that today he might attempt to break through to the venerable realm, and wonders if he can succeed. As soon as the ancestor discovers his level, the system announces the completion of the Impress the Ancestor mission. The fetus smirks at how easily his ancestor was amazed. The reward, the supreme grandeur, appears as a spiritual skeleton, and the fetus feels its mere aura easing the bottleneck that was hindering his progress. The system automatically begins to fuse the grandeur with him. The fetus decides to surprise his ancestor even more, and borrows the power of the grandeur during its fusion to break through to the venerable realm. He notices a purple energy emanating from the grandeur and is pleased. The ancestor grows worried, realizing his grandson is attempting a breakthrough, and fears this reckless advance will damage his foundation. At the same time, the mother feels another aura within her child. The breakthrough succeeds with surprising ease, and the fetus discovers that the divine ability granted by the supreme grandeur is related to time itself. He realizes he had been hasty, and that the venerable realm was his limit at his current speed. But now, with his new ability, he commands the flow of time to slow down, giving him the chance to reach even further levels before he is born. The ancestor feels a sense of awe from the overwhelming aura emanating from his grandson, which carries traces of the laws of time, and admits that he can no longer comprehend the boy's abilities even before his birth. He laughs with immense joy, once again declaring that heaven has truly blessed the Jiang family. A few months later, Jiang Zixin goes into labor. Her family waits anxiously outside the room for 3 long hours, and the midwife urges her to hold on. At the moment of his birth, Jiang Wang's system announces that he has reached the innate ancient immortal realm. His birth causes a great celestial phenomenon that attracts the attention of great figures from all over, who descend from the clouds to offer their congratulations. Onlookers wonder how an ordinary true immortal could cause such a cosmic phenomenon, and one realizes that this vision must be due to the birth of the child rejected by the great Xia dynasty. A wiser person scolds him, telling him those rumors are old news, and reveals that the Jiang family's child is so extraordinary that a sage from the palace of eternal creation accepted him as a disciple while he was still in the womb. Suddenly, the emperor of the great Xia dynasty himself arrives. Realizing that the commotion this child has caused is too great to ignore, legendary celestial phenomena continue to appear, one after another. The golden lotus of the bitter sea. The onlookers are amazed at the continuing phenomena. Then the splendid rivers and mountains appear, followed by the bright stars in the sky. The emperor recognizes the last phenomenon, the yin-yang life and death diagram, a vision not seen for 1,000 years. But the newborn Jiang Wang is not done yet. He merges all 5 of these great visions into one final phenomenon. The immortal king descends from the 9 heavens. The ancestor stands with tears in his eyes, proudly declaring that his grandson, Jiang Wang, carries the bearing of a future great emperor. The emperor of the Xia dynasty feels deep regret, wishing this child had been born into his dynasty. He considers rearranging the marriage but dismisses the idea out of shame. Meanwhile, the mother holds her child, telling him that he is her true pride. Onlookers comment that the Luo clan must be feeling the bitter pangs of regret now. The emperor, however, reaches a grim conclusion. Since they have offended such a prodigy, their only option now is to eliminate him in his cradle. 5 years later, Jiang Wang appears as a young child in meditation, using his ability to slow time. Despite reaching the peak of the ancient king realm, he feels his progress is too slow. Enthusiastic servants interrupt him, asking him to rest and offering him immortal fruit. He is annoyed by their excessive enthusiasm. Jiang Wang rises from his meditation to greet his ancestor who was waiting for him. The ancestor praises the 5-year-old Jiang Wang, noting that he has already reached the peak of the ancient king realm, and that in a few years, the ancestor himself will not be able to keep up with him. Jiang Wang responds humbly, explaining that he has not made any progress for over a month and is stuck at a bottleneck. In reality, Jiang Wang was facing a dilemma. A year ago, his system had assigned him a mission to enter a secret realm, but he couldn't leave the clan due to the kill order issued against him by both the Great Xia dynasty and the Luo clan. Additionally, he sensed a latent danger within the Jiang clan itself. One day during his training, he felt a sinister and venomous aura, and by tracing its source, he reached the clan's back mountain. There, he realized the existence of a terrifying and malevolent entity, and that he was no match for it with his current strength. Jiang Wang discovered a demon suppression array, but noticed that even this powerful seal was beginning to show signs of damage. With this internal threat and the external kill order, he felt his current strength was completely inadequate, and decided he must go out and find a secret realm to quickly increase his power. Returning to his conversation with his ancestor, Jiang Wang tells him that he sensed something in the back mountain. The ancestor confirms that he felt it too, and reassures him that the entity cannot break the seal under normal circumstances, but his words are cut short by the arrival of urgent news. A clan member bursts in to inform them of the appearance of a sage's secret realm in their eastern sea, and that the Xia dynasty and the Luo clan have already allied to control it. The ancestor immediately calls for a clan meeting. Jiang Wang insists on attending, declaring that he is qualified now that he has reached the ancient king realm, and the ancestor agrees. At the meeting, the ancestor announces that the first matter concerns his grandson. Jiang Wang addresses those present, explaining that he reached the peak of his realm months ago but has been unable to advance, and therefore wishes to leave the clan to gain experience. After the attendees confirm his level, the elders admire his rapid progress but strongly object to his departure, considering it too dangerous and that their enemies have set a clear trap. The ancestor suggests buying him a break the ancient pill instead of taking the risk, and the uncle agrees with the suggestion. Jiang Wang thinks that their excessive appreciation has become a burden preventing his development. Jiang Wang interrupts their discussion, asking them to listen to him. He acknowledges their concerns, but questions how he can become stronger if he continues to hide behind the clan at every sign of danger. He explains that although he has reached the peak of his realm, he has never fought a real life-and-death battle, and also reminds them of the treasure his master gifted him, which would make it difficult even for an ancient emperor to capture him. He pleads with them to let him go out and temper himself in the outside world. After hearing his argument, the uncle comments that they had not faced such dangers at the age of 5, and the ancestor admits to himself that Jiang Wang has earned the right to make his own decisions after surpassing most of them in cultivation. The ancestor reluctantly agrees, but warns him that the geniuses of the Luo clan and the Xia dynasty have already entered the secret realm, and that they have set a trap for him, where ancient emperors will be waiting in ambush as soon as his identity is revealed. Jiang Wang responds with absolute confidence, asking disdainfully, "Just an ancient emperor? What's there to be afraid of? The ancestor laughs loudly, impressed by his grandson's spirit, and declares that this is the true spirit of their clan's son. He gives him permission to go, but asks him to be careful, and Jiang Wang thanks him. He then sets off immediately. His mother watches him leave, praying for his safe return. Jiang Wang arrives at the entrance of the secret realm and notices the place is bustling with life. To gather information, he approaches a cultivator and politely asks if this is the ancient sage's secret realm. The cultivator is initially annoyed, but notices the quality of Jiang Wang's clothes and realizes he might be a young master from a great clan, so he changes his tone and replies in the affirmative. Jiang Wang claims to be from a humble sect, then inquires about the presence of so many children and young people. The cultivator explains bitterly that the great powers, like the Great Xia dynasty and the Luo clan, have monopolized this realm, only allowing entry to those under the age of 18. Jiang Wang wonders which geniuses his enemies have sent. At that moment, a group from the Great Xia divine dynasty arrives, led by the Grand Princess Xia Mingqian, whose beauty stuns the onlookers. While one of her attendants tries to flatter her and belittle the competition, the princess shows her wisdom and warns her against underestimating others, specifically mentioning two strong opponents, the mysterious son of the young Luo clan leader and the Qilin son of the Zhang clan. She expresses regret that her dynasty has lost such a powerful ally. The attendant blames the despicable General Wu Qi for what happened, but the princess orders her to stop and learn from this mistake, and the two attendants agree. Jiang Wang watches the princess from afar, admiring her beauty and noting that she carries none of the arrogance of the general who insulted his family. Next, the Luo clan arrives in a majestic carriage surrounded by lightning, and Jiang Wang smiles, fearing they might not show up. An elder from the clan introduces their candidate for the secret realm, Luo Dong, to the Grand Princess. Luo Dong tries to greet her, but she completely ignores him and addresses the female elder accompanying him, suggesting they join forces to open the secret realm, leaving Luo Dong embarrassed and angry. The elders of the clans work together to open the gate to the secret realm, and all the juniors are told to enter immediately. Jiang Wang thinks that the time has come to make the Luo clan pay for their past actions. As he heads towards the gate, the female elder from the Luo clan, Wan Qiu, notices him and recognizes the resemblance between his features and his mother's. She concludes that he must be the Zhang clan's prodigy and is shocked at his audacity to come to this dangerous place, while Jiang Wang easily evades her attempt to obstruct him and enters the secret realm. Outside, Elder Wan Qiu of the Luo clan decides to inform her clan, vowing that since Jiang Wang dared to come, he will not leave this place alive. Meanwhile, Jiang Wang begins his adventure inside the secret realm, where he encounters spiritual beasts, and thinks that the beast has fallen into the trap. Jiang Wang finds these beasts are made of pure spiritual energy and defeats them easily, but thinks that they do not affect him, and that his system's rewards are the most valuable. He remains cautious, aware that the Luo clan and the Xia dynasty are surely watching him and have set an ambush for him outside, which makes him feel the need to use this opportunity to break through to a new level, as his current strength will not be enough to face them. Suddenly, his system announces the completion of the Locate the Ancient Sage's Secret Realm mission, and rewards him with an infusion of 100 years of cultivation. Jiang Wang immediately sits down to absorb this immense power, excited to see how much of a boost he will get. This massive energy infusion creates a pillar of golden light that shoots up into the sky, attracting the attention of all the young cultivators in the secret realm. As onlookers approach, they realize what is happening is not the appearance of a treasure, but a terrifying celestial thunder tribulation. One of them recognizes it as a ninefold thunder tribulation compressed into a single strike, a rare celestial phenomenon. Luo Dong, the prodigy of the Luo clan, sees this as an opportunity to get closer to Princess Xia Mingqian and suggests they team up to seize the supposed treasure. But the princess responds cautiously, noting that the level of this tribulation is unpredictable. Luo Dong continues to insist, while thinking to himself that he must win this captivating woman. At the heart of the storm, Jiang Wang stands, challenging the tribulation which materializes as a palace of lightning. Lightning strikes him powerfully, after taking the first hit and scoffing at its weakness. He uses the heaven-devouring demon art to swallow the tribulation's power. He then engages directly with an armored warrior made of lightning. Jiang Wang easily parries the lightning strikes, and rushes towards the warrior. The warrior becomes angry and unleashes a powerful lightning strike. Jiang Wang uses his clan's strongest sword techniques to deliver a final blow. The others watch from afar in complete confusion, wondering what kind of entity could attract such a terrifying celestial thunder, and then one of them notices a human figure at the heart of the storm. The princess reaches a stunning and impossible conclusion. Someone is undergoing a tribulation to become an ancient emperor, and since this secret realm is age-restricted, it means a young person under 18 is achieving this unprecedented feat. Luo Dong watches the tribulation, realizing the person undergoing it is completely unharmed, and decides he will become a disaster in the future if not eliminated, intending to assassinate him under the cover of the thunder if the opportunity arises. The tribulation's power intensifies to the point of threatening to tear the secret realm itself apart, and the onlookers flee in panic. Luo Dong takes advantage of the situation to protect Princess Xia Mingqian from the shockwave, and she thanks him for his help. After the storm subsides, the mysterious figure disappears, leading those present to believe he failed his tribulation and perished in body and soul. Luo Dong tries again to convince the princess to ally with him, arguing that they face an unknown power and must protect each other. The princess politely refuses him, claiming she has already formed a team, and adds with veiled sarcasm that his strength is too great to join her humble team. Luo Dong is infuriated by the rejection and vows to himself that Xia Mingqian is his, and no one will be able to refuse him. The princess is impressed by Jiang Wang's handsomeness. The boy sits and thinks that he must search for new martial arts, as using his clan's techniques will easily reveal his identity. The princess approaches him and gets his attention. Jiang Wang is surprised by her presence and realizes she is from the Jia dynasty, but guesses she hasn't recognized him. She asks if he is afraid of her, and he begins to play the role of an innocent child, praising the princess's beauty. His charm works on her, and she pinches his cheek and praises his courage. Jiang Wang fabricates a sad story, claiming his clan has fallen and he was forced to enter the secret realm due to a lack of resources. The princess pities him and invites him to join her team for his safety, and he agrees with feigned enthusiasm. Meanwhile, Luo Dong feels intense hatred towards Jiang Wang, angry that brat, Jiang Wang, has ruined his plans with the princess. He begins to track the princess's group. A short while later, a wolf attacks Jiang Wang. Jiang Wang catches the attack easily, surprising the princess who marvels at his physical strength. Jiang Wang thinks to himself that he was holding back his power, and realizes that Luo Dong is tracking them. Luo Dong finally appears, declaring he entered this realm for the princess, and uses a powerful artifact called the Ancient Trapping Pearl to trap her, while Jiang Wang internally scoffs at the artifact's power. Luo Dong laughs maniacally, revealing his desire for her and her special exquisite 9-yin body, which piques Jiang Wang's interest. Later, around a campfire, Jiang Wang continues his act, telling big sister Xia that he is scared and asking if he can sleep with her. The princess teases him, wondering how the little monster who tears apart spiritual beasts could feel scared. He insists he is truly scared, compliments her, and then asks with feigned seriousness if she has a Dao companion. The princess replies sadly that she does not. Jiang Wang continues his act, feigning surprise that Princess Xia Mingqian, with her beauty and status, has no suitors. The princess explains to him that the men who approach her always have impure intentions and a hidden agenda. When he asks about this agenda, she reveals her secret, asking him if he has heard of the exquisite 9-yin body. She explains that this body is extremely beneficial for those who practice dual cultivation, and for this reason, evil sects search for women who possess this body to use them as cultivation vessels. Jiang Wang pretends to understand, clenches his fist in feigned anger, and vows to protect her from any bad guys who dare to approach her. The princess smiles at his childish jealousy and tells him to rest now. As they sit by the fire, Jiang Wang feels that man, Luo Dong, is still nearby. Annoyed by the constant surveillance, he decides he must get rid of that animal Luo Dong sooner rather than later to have some peace, and walks away from the camp. The princess follows him worriedly, and gently scolds him for being reckless and going out alone, as he is apologizing to her. Luo Dong, who had been watching them with jealousy, appears, and attacks Jiang Wang, shouting that he is looking for death. Jiang Wang turns calmly and tells him that he was waiting for him. Luo Dong launches an attack towards Jiang Wang. The princess intervenes and stands between them, asking Luo Dong what his intention is. He laughs sinisterly, then tells them they will know soon enough, and throws the ancient trapping pearl at them, trapping them both. The princess is enraged, and threatens him that she and her dynasty will not forgive him for his actions, demanding he release them to avoid a declaration of war. Luo Dong ignores her threats with a smile and invites her to try, and the princess warns him not to regret it. The princess tries to activate her dynasty's rescue seal, but it fails and shatters within the pearl's space. Luo Dong mocks her, explaining that this pearl was personally refined by his ancestor Wan Qiu, who has a deep understanding of spatial laws. He adds that the pearl seals all spiritual energy operations for those below the ancient emperor level and advises her to surrender quietly. Realizing the gravity of the situation, the princess devises a plan and whispers to Jiang Wang that she will use a method to send him out of the secret realm, ordering him to summon her dynasty's forces as soon as he is out. Before she can execute her plan, Luo Dong turns his attention to Jiang Wang and scoffs at him, saying he must be that abandoned child from the Luo clan from 5 years ago. The princess wonders in confusion at the meaning of Luo Dong's words. Jiang Wang responds calmly, clarifying 2 points. First, he strongly rejects being associated with the damned Luo clan, declaring his name is Jiang Wang. Second, he asks Luo Dong sarcastically if he really thinks he has already won. Luo Dong laughs, mocking Jiang Wang for boasting while on the verge of death, and vows that he will take his life on behalf of his clan. The princess, struggling against the pearl's power, calls Luo Dong a shameless demon. Believing the situation is hopeless, she tries to devise a plan to sacrifice herself to distract Luo Dong, while Jiang Wang escapes to get help. But Jiang Wang rejects her plan, telling her to rest as he has a simpler plan. He rises into the air, surrounded by a powerful golden aura, leaving Luo Dong in shock, unable to comprehend how he can still use spiritual energy while trapped inside the pearl. Jiang Wang scoffs at the artifact, calling it a broken bead, and then with a simple flick of his hand, shatters the confining power it imposed. He instantly appears before Luo Dong and tells him he doesn't like being looked down upon, then taps him on the forehead with his finger. This simple tap causes Luo Dong's spiritual energy to dissipate and his bones to shatter, and he falls to the ground. The princess watches the scene in shock as Luo Dong falls to the ground completely helpless, screaming that what is happening is impossible. Jiang Wang stands over him and asks sarcastically if he is now satisfied with the power of the abandoned child from the Luo clan. Luo Dong begs for his life, swearing he will tell no one what happened. Jiang Wang responds with contempt, asking if he thinks he fears the Luo clan, and declares he will visit them personally before he comes of age, and for now, he will simply collect some interest. He plants a golden core of energy in Luo Dong's body. Luo Dong asks him in terror what he has done to him. Jiang Wang explains that he is not bloodthirsty, as his mother taught him mercy, and so he will give him a chance to run and reach his ancestor to have the golden core extracted within the time it takes for 3 incense sticks to burn, and if he succeeds, he might live. The princess tries to warn Jiang Wang that releasing Luo Dong will bring disaster upon him and the Jiang family. Jiang Wang reassures her that that little thief will not be able to escape, as Luo Dong flees, screaming threats of revenge and the destruction of the Jiang family, and vowing to crush every bone in Jiang Wang's body. The latter calmly begins to count down from 3. When he reaches 1, Luo Dong explodes in the distance. Jiang Wang turns to the shocked princess and smiles, saying he was joking about showing mercy, and that he rarely listens to his mother. After witnessing the events, Princess Xia Mingqian confirms to herself that this is the divine child of the Jiang clan, remembers her father's constant regret over breaking the engagement, and thinks that this meeting might be a chance to set things right. They go to the site of the explosion together. Jiang Wang downplays the title of divine child, claiming his cultivation was strong at birth and just caused a bit of a stir. The princess then asks him if he was the one who caused the thunder tribulation that wreaked havoc in the secret realm. He calmly admits that he caused the tribulation, sighing that he didn't expect a simple tribulation to break through the peak of the ancient emperor realm to cause such a commotion. He adds wistfully that heaven is jealous of great talents. The princess is astounded by his power and confidence, thinking he seems like an ancient god descended to the mortal world, and wonders what he will become when he grows up, then scolds herself for these thoughts. Jiang Wang notices her silence and asks if she is upset. He confesses to her that he initially kept her by his side intentionally to use her as bait to lure and eliminate Luo Dong. She reassures him that she is not a petty person and is not angry. On the contrary, she should thank him for helping her remove a hidden threat, and Jiang Wang shows signs of relief. Later, by a campfire, the princess reflects on the rumors that the Qilin son of the Jiang clan might be the reincarnation of a great ancient emperor, and now feels those rumors have a basis in truth. She marvels at his immense talent, cunning, and eloquence, concluding that few in his generation can compare to him. Jiang Wang interrupts her thoughts, and returns to his role as an innocent child, wondering aloud who will be the lucky one to marry Big Sister Xia in the future, which flusters her, and she wonders at his strange questions. Afterward, her conversation turns serious. She warns him that he doesn't realize the gravity of the situation with the Luo clan, explaining that Luo Dong was of their direct lineage, and their ancestors will not let the matter rest peacefully. She also reminds him of the ambush her dynasty and the Luo clan have set for him outside the secret realm. Jiang Wang responds dismissively, saying he will kill Luo Wangqiu with a single palm strike, and the princess challenges his overconfidence, asking what he will do when the true power of the Luo clan descends upon him, explaining that the clan has many powerful experts. To help him escape, she gives him a spiritual treasure from her father that can conceal his aura. She insists that he take it, saying that he helped her, and that the great Xia dynasty may not necessarily remain his enemy. Jiang Wang accepts the gift but clarifies his position. Their friendship is personal, but he holds no goodwill towards her dynasty, and he vows to make General Wu Qi pay for insulting his mother and wronging his clan. In a surprising move, the princess asks him, "What if we hand over Wu Qi to you?" Jiang Wang asks Princess Xia Mingqian if she truly has the authority to demand the handover of Wu Qi. She explains that her father was deceived, which is why he considered breaking the engagement. She assures him that if handing over Wu Qi will improve relations with him and the great Xia dynasty, her father will naturally subject Wu Qi to his judgment. She then offers him a jade pendant as a token. Jiang Wang reminds her that she, elder sister Xia, saw him at the peak of the ancient emperor realm with her own eyes. That is why she believes he is worthy of convincing the human emperor, her father, to hand over Wu Qi. But he points out that her father has never seen this strength, and the rest of the world is even less likely to believe such a claim. To them, he is just a child abandoned by the Luo clan who might possess some talent. She replies that this concern only applies to the matter of Wu Qi, and then asks him plainly if he is refusing her jade pendant. Jiang Wang answers that he doesn't want his friend to endure what he has been through. He reminds her that she is the grand princess of the great Xia dynasty, and her every word and action is watched by countless eyes. He vows that he will not give them any reason to deem her choice, in befriending him, a mistake, nor will he give them any excuse to mock or belittle her. She is slightly moved, thinking to herself that she is his friend. Jiang Wang continues, explaining that he understands her intentions, and for that very reason, he cannot accept the pendant lightly. Doing so would cost him his self-respect. He declares that he must first prove to the world how right her choice, in trusting him, was, and only then can he accept the pendant with honor. She stands up, thinking that despite his young age, he is eloquent, as every excuse he has is based on principle. She hopes to herself that he will make sure he isn't just all talk. Jiang Wang stands in turn, asking her to wait, asserting that from this day forward, the name Jiang Wang will resound throughout the great Xia divine dynasty. Afterward, Jiang Wang uses a spiritual communication method to call his master, asking if she is there. Sage Miao's spiritual projection appears, chiding him that he forgets her on normal days, but now that trouble has arrived, he remembers his lonely old master. Jiang Wang smiles and asks her not to underestimate him, explaining that he has only one request. He explains that the novice from the Luo clan who injured him, Luo Dong, has been killed, but there is still a fourth-level ancient empress named Luo Q, Elder Wan Q, whom he intends to kill. He warns that if Luo Q dies, an ancient sage from the Luo clan will surely appear. Therefore, Jiang Wang begs his master to set up a formation that prevents the Luo clan's ancient sage from discovering his current location for the time it takes one incense stick to burn, assuring her that he has his own means of escape. She agrees, saying that those who cultivate the Tao should act as they please, and that she will help him. Jiang Wang thinks to himself that all he has to do now is his best, then flies into the sky and calls out loudly for the fellow Taoists to hear him. He announces that he, Jiang Wang, is about to cleanse this secret realm, and warns them that he will use his full power and cannot guarantee their safety. He orders them to ascend to the sky and gather behind him within a quarter of an hour, considering them warned. He threatens that whoever fails to comply will suffer the consequences themselves. Princess Xia Mingqian responds immediately, ordering the people of the great Xia dynasty to rise into the sky with her. Her attendants hesitate, one asking the other if she really believes Jiang Wang, pointing out that he is, after all, just a 5-year-old child. She turns to them with a cold smile, asking if they are questioning the Grand Princess's judgment. Elsewhere in the secret realm, other cultivators notice her and her group ascending. One wonders if they should follow since even the people of the divine dynasty have gone, while others decide to follow, reasoning that they worked hard to get this far and don't want anything to go wrong. 2 young men remain on the ground. One scoffs, asking if this isn't Jiang Wang, the abandoned child of the Luo clan who was born with a defect. He mentions the rumors at his birth that he was an innate true immortal and questions their validity. The other adds contemptuously that the Grand Princess of the Xia dynasty flew away in fear too, calling her a coward and wondering how she could ever attain the great Tao. Jiang Wang looks down at them from above, telling them he gave them enough time, and that they brought this upon themselves. He smiles as he repeats their words in disdain, asking if they are calling his friend a coward and incapable of attaining the great Tao. He challenges the 2 young men, saying to let them see, then, how they will attain the great Tao under his sword. He then shouts the word, cut, unleashing a massive sword-light attack from the sky towards the cultivators who remained on the ground. Jiang Wang attacks the remaining cultivators on the ground with a massive sword-light strike. The strike hits the 2 men who were mocking the princess, one trying to block it with his sword while screaming in pain, and his attack also wipes out the rest of the beasts. After the attack, her attendants look at Jiang Wang in the sky in shock. One wonders to herself if he really did it, marveling at this kind of power, and questioning if Jiang Wang is really just a child. Princess Jiamingqian stands stunned, thinking to herself if this is the power he wanted to show her father, the emperor. Then she blames herself, wondering how she forgot to take out the recording stone to record what happened. Meanwhile, Zhang Wang thinks that his spiritual power has been fully restored. Zhang Wang then turns to the other cultivators who followed him into the sky and thanks them for believing him. He declares that he is not a greedy person and suggests they all share this spiritual power. The cultivators rejoice at his generosity. One comments that this is the spiritual power from all the spirit beasts in the entire secret realm, while another thanks him, calling him Young Master Jiang. After that, Jiang Wang approaches the princess and calls her Sister Xia. He smiles and offers her a ball of golden spiritual energy, telling her he has already set aside the spiritual power needed for her advancement. She is surprised, asking him how he refused to accept her jade pendant, but now he wants her to accept his spiritual power. Zhang Wang tells her not to be impatient and to hold the recording stone in her hand. He then smiles confidently, telling her that what comes next is the main event. Meanwhile, outside the secret realm where the armies of the Xia dynasty and the Luo clan are camped, a massive spatial rift suddenly opens in the sky. The panicked soldiers wonder how this could happen, noting that this rift can only be opened by someone in the Immortal Emperor realm, and marveling that there is an Immortal Emperor inside the secret realm. The elder of the Luo clan watches the scene, thinking that Luo Dong must have used Xia Mingqian's 9th yin spirit body to break through to the Immortal Emperor realm, and considers that the heavens are truly blessing the Luo clan. However, Zhang Wang and Princess Xia Mingqian emerge from the spatial rift. She recognizes Zhang Wang's face and screams, "No!" She angrily calls him a bastard of the Zhang family, who dared to come to the secret realm, considering this a complete disregard for the Luo clan. Zhang Wang turns to the princess and asks if she is ready. She replies to leave it to her. She steps forward and addresses the soldiers of the great Xia divine dynasty, ordering them to listen to her command. She then issues an order for a full retreat. The soldiers, including General Xia, are shocked and shout in disbelief at the order. General Xia asks her worriedly if that Jiang brat has taken her hostage. She reassures him and tells him to be at ease, confirming that she is the one who gave the order, to protect them all. He scoffs at her words, muttering that her words are ridiculous. He thinks that they will have no choice but to protect the princess themselves when the Luo clan attacks. Despite his confusion, he relays the order and commands his troops to depart. The ships and chariots of the great Xia dynasty begin to withdraw into the clouds. The Luo clan elder watches their retreat, then turns her gaze angrily towards Zhang Wang. She calls him a bastard of the Zhang family, and scolds him for being filthy despite his young age, asking sarcastically if he thinks protecting the princess will keep him safe. She vows that since he dared to come to the secret realm today, no one will be able to save him. Zhang Wang replies calmly, saying this is expected of the Luo clan, who always launch despicable schemes that not even children would think of. Since her clan invited him here, he wonders how he could refuse. She flies into a rage at his arrogance, calling him an arrogant brat. She issues an order to the Luo clan, declaring that against a 5-year-old child, they don't need help from the divine Xia dynasty, and orders them to kill him. The Luo clan forces respond in unison, "Yes," and charge to attack Zhang Wang and the princess. As the Xia dynasty forces retreat, a young warrior looks back at them, shouting that the Luo clan is going too far, and demanding that even if they kill the boy, they should at least let the people of the divine Xia dynasty leave. She notices him, launches an energy attack at him, and yells at him for talking too much, and orders him to die, and the boy screams in pain. Another female warrior screams in fear, urging the others to retreat quickly, while Zhang Wang and Princess Xia Mingqian stand calmly. The Luo clan elder, Luo Chu, shouts at Zhang Wang, telling him to stop dreaming. She explains that even if the two generals of the great Xia dynasty, who have barely entered the Immortal Emperor realm, helped him, they are no match for her, as she, the old woman, has already reached the 4th heaven of the Immortal Emperor realm. She adds that even if they teamed up, they are no match for her. She then offers him a deal. If he tells her the whereabouts of her clan's young master, Luo Dong, she might leave him a complete corpse. Zhang Wang replies sarcastically, asking if that useless trash was her clan's genius, Luo Dong. He then turns over a small pouch in his hand and scatters its contents, telling her mockingly that there might still be some of his remains in this pouch, and suggests she go pick them up. She explodes in rage, calling him a bastard, and screaming how he dares to do that. She then orders all her clan members to attack together, vowing that she will grind his bones to dust. Jiang Wang stands beside Princess Xia Mingqian. He announces that the time it takes one incense stick to burn is all the time these worms, the Luo forces, have left to live. The elder charges to attack, screaming for him to die. At that moment, Zhang Wang gets into a ready stance and calls out to his master, Sage Miao. Sage Miao responds immediately, activating the shadow-shifting spirit sealing formation, and commands, "Seal." Massive spiritual chains descend from the sky, completely sealing the area around Jiang Wang within the formation. She, Luo Qiu, wonders in shock what this formation is, noting that it carries the power of a saint. Jiang Wang stood firmly, his voice shaking the atmosphere as he cursed his enemies from the Luo clan, calling for their death. As Jiang Wang curses his enemies, he activates his great technique, the heaven-devouring demon art, unleashing its power. The massive blue spiritual vortex expands in the sky, causing chaos and panic among the Luo clan soldiers and their chariots. The soldiers begin to scream in terror, feeling their spiritual power being drained from them, as the vortex swallows everything in its path, including horses and war chariots. The giant vortex dominates the scene, continuing to pull all enemy forces towards its center. Elder Luo Qiu's men find themselves unable to hold on. One of them screams for her to act immediately, as they won't be able to resist much longer. The shocked elder realizes the technique's power, wondering in disbelief how this child can already be at the peak of the immortal emperor realm. Luo Qiu decides the situation is impossible, and she must flee immediately to deliver this news to the old ancestor of the clan, so he can intervene and kill Jiang Wang as soon as possible. Jiang Wang watches her flee with a sarcastic smile, commenting to Princess Xia that he thought the elder would fight for at least a few rounds before running away. As she approaches the edge of the formation set up by Sage Miao, she thinks about how unfair it is. She trained for hundreds of years only to reach the 4th level of the immortal emperor realm, while this child has reached the peak of the realm, wondering on what basis this could happen. Suddenly, Jiang Wang appears in front of her in a flash, stunning her with his incredible speed, and asks her sarcastically, "What's the hurry?" She attacks him in desperation, screaming at him not to be arrogant. Jiang Wang grabs her arms, stopping her attack easily, and retorts sarcastically, wondering if he is the arrogant one, claiming his talent barely matches half the prestige she showed just moments ago. He then shatters her arms, letting out a horrific scream of pain. Jiang Wang decides to end it quickly out of consideration for her age, raising his hand and invoking his family's sword technique. Jiang family, sword, art, 9 heavens sword light. She screams no in terror as she sees the massive golden sword light descending towards her. The attack hits the ground, causing a massive explosion of golden energy that completely obliterates her. The retreating Jia dynasty soldiers watch the scene from afar. One of them realizes that this level of power can only be achieved at the peak of the immortal emperor realm, and feels grateful that the Grand Princess ordered them to retreat, otherwise they would have perished with the Luo clan. The other cultivators who survived by following Jiang Wang's orders wonder how they are still alive, realizing that this is the power of an immortal emperor, and that the child who passed the heavenly tribulation in the secret realm is Jiang Wang himself. As Jiang Wang flies towards the Xia dynasty ship, General Xia looks at him and thinks in shock, wondering if this is really the outcast of the Luo clan, a 5-year-old child at the peak of the immortal emperor realm, and screams internally that the Luo clan has misled and deceived him. Jiang Wang lands on the ship and bows respectfully, offering his apologies to the elders, explaining that he was busy executing the villains who insulted his mother and that he had been lacking in etiquette. The general tells him to raise his head, calling him Young Master Jiang, and tells him he has long heard of his exceptional talent, and seeing it today proved it to be true. He notices the princess is recording the scene with a spirit stone and asks her the purpose of it. Jiang Wang answers with a confident smile that the purpose, of course, is to have a chat with the human emperor, her father, regarding the marriage contract. And Jiang Wang asks the princess to give him the jade pendant she offered him earlier. She wonders if he means now. He takes the pendant and addresses the emperor through the recorded spirit stone, calling him Old Man of the Great Xia dynasty. He announces that he will take his daughter's pendant, suggesting it be considered a token for their re-established marriage contract. Then, Jiang Wang adds a stern warning that he only hopes that on the day he presents the betrothal gifts, the emperor will have all those involved in breaking the engagement previously tied up outside his palace, and asks him to consider that a gift in return. She looks at him in confusion, asking him what he is talking about, denouncing his mention of betrothal gifts and return gifts when he is still a child of this age. Jiang Wang replies with feigned innocence, admitting he was wrong and calling her elder sister Xia. He then turns to the generals, asking them to escort the Grand Princess and return her safely to the Divine Dynasty. Before he leaves, she returns the jade pendant to him and explains carefully that once he infuses it with spiritual energy, it will completely hide his aura for 6 hours, advising him to time its use well to escape. Jiang Wang communicates with his master internally. She tells him his performance was not bad, but warns him that the incense stick's burning time, the duration of the formation protecting him, is almost up. He reassures her, confirming that he already has a solid escape plan. Jiang Wang bids the princess farewell, announcing that he will leave now and that their next meeting will be at the grand competition of the Immortal Palace. She replies worriedly, telling him to just focus on surviving this ordeal and to go immediately. After he leaves, she decides that they must also hurry back, thinking worriedly about what the Luo clan might do. As the Jia dynasty ships fly off, a violent thunderstorm suddenly appears, and a soldier shouts a warning that someone is coming with immense power. One soldier immediately recognizes the newcomer, shouting that it is the old ancestor of the Luo clan. General Xia confirms the newcomer's identity. Princess Xia Mingqian steps forward and addresses him as Sage Luo, asking why he is attacking their divine ship without reason, and reminding him of the friendly relations their two forces have shared for generations. The furious Luo ancestor appears, asking Xia Mingqian what exactly happened in the secret realm, revealing that the soul lamps of both Luo Taodong, Luo Dong, and Luo Wanqiu, the Elder, have been extinguished. She replies rudely, calling Sage Luo daring, and reminding him that she, as the Grand Princess, is not obligated to provide any explanations to the Luo clan. The ancestor's anger intensifies, demanding she stop this arrogance, and shouts, asking who the killer is. General Xia intervenes, warning Lord Luo not to overstep his bounds, and declares that any further step will be considered a declaration of war against the great Xia dynasty. The Xia dynasty soldiers on the deck ready themselves, brandishing their spears and letting out a war cry, preparing for confrontation. The Luo clan's ancestor, Luo Tankong, scoffs at the general, calling him a rude, lowly one. The princess shouts his full name, Luo Tankong, accusing him of continuing his rampage, and asks if he is prepared to take responsibility for igniting a war between the Luo clan and the Xia dynasty. Luo Tankong asks her one last time, inquiring what happened to his clan's soldiers and who it was that killed the clan's elder. She retorts that it is the Luo clan that has become bold, daring to bully the Xia dynasty, and that they are acting arrogantly and attacking the weak without thinking. She then announces that she already knows who killed his clansman, but she dares him to try and force her to say a single word. Luo Tankong threatens that if she refuses to speak, he will have to force her to do so himself. She replies that she does not fear him and orders her generals to help her summon the imperial seal of the great Xia dynasty. The generals respond immediately, joining the princess in a ritual that summons a massive golden dragon representing the dynasty's power. Luo Tankong is shocked, wondering how the Xia emperor allowed his daughter to use such a powerful seal. Luo Tankong feels the immense pressure of the Xia dynasty's dragon vein, and realizes he cannot face the power of an entire divine dynasty alone. The princess, backed by the dragon's power, warns him that the imperial clan of the Xia dynasty has never surrendered to an enemy. She threatens that she will take his head even if it costs her divine soul if he continues to block their path, and gives him one last chance to withdraw. Luo Tankong glares angrily and declares that this matter will not end here. He adds that the Luo clan will remember this day's humiliation, and then retreats. As soon as he leaves, the princess staggers from exhaustion. The generals rush to support her, telling her to rest immediately, explaining that forcibly activating the imperial seal puts a huge strain on her body. She reassures them that it's simple, that she didn't fully awaken the dragon vein's power, so her divine soul is fine. It's just that she depleted her spiritual energy and will recover after some rest. She reflects on the Luo clan's growing audacity, how they act as if they are the masters of the desolate ancient immortal realm, and feels that they will not let the matter of their heavy losses go easily. The princess holds the recording stone that documented the events, thinking that once her father, the emperor, sees this recording, he will definitely make his decision. In another scene, inside the Luo clan's hall, the old ancestor asks one of his followers if he found anything specific while investigating the case of the killer in the secret realm. The follower reports that the battlefield outside the secret realm was severely damaged, and the only clue is that the attacker was at the peak of the ancient emperor realm, with no other evidence found. But he looks at him with interest, nodding for him to continue. The follower resumes his report, explaining that while investigating the eastern region, he discovered that 5 years ago, a divine child was born in the Jiang clan's territory. He adds that his birth was accompanied by astonishing heavenly visions, a golden lotus blooming from a bitter sea, a map of mountains and rivers, and even an ancient king descending upon the 9 heavens. The old ancestor jumps from his seat in shock, shouting, "What?" He repeats the vision in disbelief. An ancient king descending upon the 9 heavens? Explaining that such a vision can only occur with the birth of the legendary archaic sacred body. He asks the follower worriedly if these are just rumors. The follower assures him he dares not deceive him, that he confirmed the matter's truthfulness, and adds that the Jiang clan's divine child was not only born with the archaic sacred body but was also born at the innate true immortal cultivation level. The Luo clan's old ancestor realizes in shock that this divine child is the same one he personally expelled from the clan. He laments his luck, wondering how, if this child had been born among them, their clan would never have worried about its decline, and curses the abundance of bad news he has received that day. He decides that Luo Jiantian must be held accountable for this, orders his follower to accompany him, and sets off towards his residence. Upon arriving, the ancestor shouts for Luo Jiantian to come out and face him immediately. Inside, Luo Jiantian hears the call and wonders in confusion why the ancestor is angry again, especially since the clan's soldiers just suffered a mysterious disaster. The old ancestor, Luo Tangkong, enters the hall. When Jiantian asks him the reason for his visit, he angrily rebukes him, asking how he still has the nerve to ask. He reveals angrily that the child Jiantian had with the Jiang clan girl possesses the archaic sacred body, and accuses him of causing the clan to lose its star of destiny for nothing by expelling him. Jiantian replies in complete shock, insisting that this is impossible. He defends his decision, explaining that he personally examined the fetus in Jiang Zixin's womb at the time. He asserts that it showed no spiritual energy fluctuations, and its foundation was damaged, and that its fate was to never even reach the spirit manifestation stage in its entire life, wondering how it could be the same person with the archaic sacred body. Jiantian directs his anger at the guard who brought the news, threatening him with the dire consequences that await those who dare to lie in front of the old ancestor. The guard kneels in terror, begging the young clan leader, Jiantian, to spare him. He swears he did not dare to report the news recklessly, but that this news has spread like wildfire in the Eastern Immortal Realm, and he only reported it after verifying it multiple times. At that moment, a woman named Mu Yun enters and asks Jiantian not to be impulsive. She vouches that the death guards loyal to the clan do not spread rumors lightly, and asks him to hear him out first. Mu Yun approaches and greets the ancestor, who allows her to speak and give her opinion. Mu Yun suggests that the child was born 5 years ago, and this news, being mere oral rumors, is hard to confirm. She speculates that the Jiang clan fabricated this story to save face after the Luo clan expelled them. Luo Jiantian objects that the matter is too serious to be ignored. If it's a lie, no problem, but what if it's true? Mu Yun, Jiantian's wife, proposes a plan, pointing out that the Jiang clan is already in decline. With the Luo clan's power, simply summoning Jiang Zixin and her son to acknowledge their ancestors would make the Jiang clan eternally grateful to them, and at the same time, it would allow them to verify the truth of the child's constitution. She adds confidently that even if they refuse, there is no need to worry, because her son Luo Xing is already showing signs of a great emperor, and their clan's prosperity is guaranteed with him. Jiantian agrees enthusiastically, recalling that the heavenly phenomena at Jinger's birth were also exceptional, and that his constitution is no less than divine. The old ancestor admits he was so preoccupied with problems that he forgot about Xinger, and orders Mu Yun to bring Luo Xing to see him immediately. A short while later, Luo Xing arrives. He bows respectfully, greeting the ancestor, his father, and his mother. The ancestor watches him with admiration, noting his composed and humble demeanor, the calmness of his spirit, and how his stellar bloodline grows denser by the day. He proudly declares that Xinger is the clan's bright star, and that he will definitely ascend to the peak of martial arts. Jiantian assures the ancestor that Jinger's training is improving rapidly, and that he will personally accompany him to the grand competition of the Immortal Palace next month. The ancestor stands, elated, repeating the word excellent 3 times, declaring that with a successor like Luo Xing, their clan will rise to greater heights than ever before. But before he leaves, he gives a stern warning not to neglect the matter of the Jiang clan, ordering them to investigate it thoroughly. Jiantian agrees and asks his son to bid the ancestor farewell as the family bows respectfully to the departing ancestor. Jiantian orders his son Xinger to return to his training, reminding him that training is like rowing upstream. You either advance or fall back. He tells him that he and his mother have matters to discuss, and Luo Xing leaves. As soon as Jiantian is alone with his wife, Mu Yun, she immediately confronts him, accusing him of still thinking about Jiang Zixin. She guesses that as soon as he heard the abandoned child possessed great talent, his heart was moved and he wanted to bring them back. He tries to calm her, putting his arm around her, and asks her not to be angry, reminding her that the child is, after all, his own flesh and blood, Luo Jiantian's son, and a descendant of the Luo clan. He justifies his position that if his superior talent is proven, it is in the clan's best interest to win him over gently. Then Jiantian admits that he shares her doubts. The Medicine God Valley's doctor himself confirmed that the child's foundation was damaged, which he saw himself when he examined him, wondering how such a child could now possess a sacred body. Mu Yun is disgusted, declaring she refuses to believe that child could ever surpass her son, Xinger. Mu Yun decides to end the discussion, telling him to forget about it for now and to go make the arrangements to implement the plan. Meanwhile, Princess Xia Mingqian arrives at the palace of the great Xia dynasty. She reflects on the arduous journey she has been through and decides she must immediately inform her father about that little brat, Zhang Wang. Soldiers line the palace courtyard to welcome the return of the divine ship and the grand princess to the imperial court. The princess disembarks with her generals, thanks the soldiers for their efforts, and announces that the divine ship is now in their charge. The soldiers salute her. She informs her generals that she will first go to see her royal father, the emperor, to report today's events, and orders them to maintain absolute secrecy about the matter until His Majesty makes his decision. They affirm their commitment. Princess Xia Mingqian heads through the palace corridors towards the grand hall, where the emperor awaits her. The princess enters the throne room, greets her father the emperor, and reports that she has returned from the secret realm with great gains and that she has not brought shame to the name of the great Xia dynasty. He welcomes her, calling her Qianer, and asks her to come closer so he can inspect her. He notices she used the imperial seal and returned in a hurry, asking her what danger she faced. She reassures him and asks him not to worry, confirming that she was not harmed and that not even dust touched her clothes. But he notices that her spiritual energy is almost completely depleted and deduces that she used the imperial seal because of a life-threatening crisis. He demands she explain what happened. The princess acknowledges her father's sharp insight. She explains that the Luo clan allowed Luo Dong to use the immortal trapping pearl against her, with the intent of committing a heinous crime. She adds that fortunately, a friend intervened and saved her, thwarting Luo Dong's attempt. But she continues, the Luo clan did not back down. Instead, they sent an ancient sage, Luo Tangkong, to intercept their divine ship on its way back. He ignites in anger, smashing his throne's armrest in one blow, and shouts, asking how the Luo clan dared to commit such a bold act. At the sound of his anger, his wife enters, asking His Majesty the reason for this great anger. She approaches him and asks him to calm down and explain what happened. He declares that the Luo clan is extremely audacious, daring to lay their hands on his daughter, wondering if they are looking down on him and the great Xia divine dynasty. He then immediately orders his servants to draft an imperial decree announcing that he will demand an immediate explanation from the Luo clan. Both the princess and the emperor's wife rush to stop him, begging him not to act rashly. She advises him not to rush, reminding him that although the Luo clan is not one of the ancient families, their roots are deep and their heritage is vast. She warns him that if war breaks out, the great Xia dynasty will suffer heavy losses. The emperor retorts angrily, asking what the difference is between their actions and an official declaration of war. Princess Xia Mingqian also begs her father to quench his anger, warning him that the outbreak of war will plunge the entire desolate ancient immortal realm into chaos. She reminds him that many powerful clans are already watching their dynasty like hungry tigers and that he must not act impulsively, asserting that she does not wish to see their people suffer. She adds that furthermore, she obtained something far greater in the secret realm, something that surpasses the importance of the Luo clan's insult, and asks him to take a look. The princess presents her father with the spiritual recording stone. He takes it, wondering about the nature of this greater gain. The emperor praises his daughter Qianer internally, commenting that she has truly matured and expressing admiration for her ability to maintain her composure and think of the people's welfare even after facing such danger. He thinks to himself in shame how he, the emperor, was less composed than his daughter. He then declares that he refuses to bear this shame any longer and issues an imperial decree ordering the Luo clan to hand over Luo Dong to their custody and that this is the only way to close this file. The emperor's wife objects, reminding him of the long-standing good relations between their dynasty and the Luo clan, describing what happened as a minor incident. She suggests instead marrying Princess Mingqing, another daughter, to Luo Dong, arguing that this would strengthen their alliance and solve the marriage problem of Princess Mingqing, who has reached marriageable age and has many suitors. He explodes in anger at his wife, shouting in disbelief at her calling it a minor incident, explaining that if not for a slight error, Qianer would not have returned alive. He flatly refuses the idea of marrying Mingqing to that villain. She clarifies that her concern is not about Luo Dong himself, but the fact that he is the direct heir of the Luo clan, and that he is destined to wield great power within his family in the future. Princess Xia Mingqian interrupts her, addressing her stepmother, saying that if His Majesty thinks she, Xia Mingqian, was impressed by Luo Dong, he is completely mistaken. The emperor's wife asks her what she means. Princess Xia Mingqian states clearly that Luo Dong has already been killed,